poison the life of gifted adults. Written by Valérie Foussier, médecin endocrinologue. I am actually doing the interpretation in English of her article titled « 10 traits de caractère qui empoisonnent la vie des adultes surdoués ». The gifted adults or high potential have an operation mode that is quite different and ignored by other adults and even the HP for high potential themselves. This ignorance is at the origin of the evil bee creating a chasm with the other, an offset, an unavoidable upset. It is also their mode of employment. No, it is also their way of operating, I would say. That is their strength, which is also both envied. Yes, you suffer from your capabilities that cause you so much pain. Here are the 10 features or 10 character traits that make you search first and then bullied. Empathic and friendly. You have an undisputable gift, the empathy and the extreme kindness. You guess the need of others before your own, that you tend to ignore. You perceive that what others feel, and even much more sharply. You lose you lose yourself in adapting disproportionately to the other person. It is precisely for your altruism without limits that the manipulators pick you. The fragile face that they show at first glance is touching you and you fall in their clouds. Stop to be nice, be true. Of course, there are well-intentioned people who appreciate your empathy and kindness for its fair value, two qualities that make makes the basic of charism both coveted. Resilient. You have this ability to bear the unbearable, and you come back illico presto to keep a smile despite the storm, to find constructive solutions in the face of adversity of life. This force may also scare or bring you a lot of injustice. You're considered as a fabulator, a faker, imposter, a faker. This is the way you're considered. And this accentuates your natural tendency to overflow emotionally, which has the effect to put you, the effect of to have the effect to put everybody against you. Then you're just ready, when in fact you're just resilient. This is the effect of a bomb in the heart. Yet it chooses. Yet they are choosing you. They come to you to seek you even for this supernatural power, your resilience. Those are manipulative personalities who abuse of your ability to stand up again immediately after an assault. You're still too much mishandled by your potential. Live the intolerable without being believed, devastated by a cascade of injustice. So this was number 2. Number 3, passionate. When you're motivated, nothing will stop to reach for you. Nothing will stop you to reach your goal. Despite a chain of ambushes, you cross without weakening again the obstacle by continuing your route up to the summit, animated by your imperturbable passion up to the exhaustion, even often without your knowledge, attention, or warning, should I say. You are not always rewarded and compensated for your superhuman efforts. In other words, they come to seek you, then turn their back on you. While pretending and making you believe of months and wonders. When you understand it, you're moving in the disappointment and misunderstanding until the depression. Lightning speed. You do everything 10 times faster than the other. Outside of the absence of motivation that exposes you to the inaction and the procrastination. Your speed of execution, understanding is a goldmine for the leaders of businesses, for the scientific community, for the hierarchy, because once again you generate gains. The time is money. Your speed of execution, disconcerting, can also be experienced as an affront to your colleague who feel consciously or unconsciously devalued. They then seek to harm you in any way misleading to put themselves first, not omitting not omitting. mm, to downgrade you by lies without you being able to refute them. A beautiful fabric of injustices. This can lead to redundancies for fault, which will lead you straight to the depression because your fundamental human values are flawed. Creative. Number 5. You have a potential of creativity expressed or buried. It may be in the first plan and lead you with the institute in put you in leadership positions of leadership in the institutions of innovation in which you feel in harmony. You're then driven and recruited for this. It is a more value for the company that you raise by your creative originality. It also happens that your potential of creativity is revealed within your professional environment or staff. You want everything naturally. You want to make everything act naturally, and you express yourself on this subject. Except that you're not in the right environment, you will disturb and you will be labeled crazy. They will not listen to you in this area. We will take care of. They will take care of putting sticks in your wheels to derail your creative projects when you will dare to venture on this path. Stay in touch with your creativity. It is a violent aggression which has consequences on your self-confidence or self-esteem. Multi-action. This is 6. You have this capability to be able to do several things at once. That is why you're being qualified as dispersed and any other nickname devaluation. Yet it is a reality which has recently been highlighted by the functional imaging. A comparative study of adults, HP adults and non-HP adults, has allowed to view the famous 3 of HP. Now, the famous arborescence, or the famous famous gift. Several brain areas are activated at the same time after the execution of a task versus a single adult non-gifted. This explains the fact that think of a thing generates anticipatory thoughts or ideas appearing of subject. Yes, we can do it. We can, for instance, make accountability or accountants accountability in front of TV without making mistakes. The fact of doing two things at once reinforces the concentration and improves the performance at the price, maybe of expenditure of energy much greater. It is a considerable asset, this ability to multitask, to be able to do with quality several things at once by going up to the end, by um, by going through till the end, should I say, without being dispersed for as much. No, this allows you to pay attention to um, pay attention to the over expense of energy and take the necessary time to relax. Seven, the search of truth, for truth and concern for justice. You have a line of conduct, the justice, and you always act in the and you always act having in mind the concern for justice. You're a person that can be counted avoid to avoid to the maximum the bullying of others by either manipulation um, or degradation of others. They will pick you for your righteousness. However, your leitmotif, search for the truth, and your pugnacity, you will sometimes do acts beyond your functions, trampling your hierarchy that will have a boomerang effect. Your truth is not always that of the other one. You have the heart to complicate the life and torturing yourself and you auto-destroying, taking decisions that can take you where you don't want to go, so unconsciously or consciously. You run out in saliva and energy to explain everything and justify everything without stopping and without end. Learn how to respond to a need. Avoid to go ahead of troubles without that we ask you for the sake of fairness that you're involved or not. In other words, what you can do is you learn to respond to a need, but don't create needs that are not already there. Otherwise, it is really putting you in trouble that you don't need. This will save you the acerbic remarks, the misunderstood acerbic remarks. Wait and let pass the hurricane without action. 8. Brain hyperactivity. Your neurons are permanently boiling. Nothing escapes you, and especially especially not the most trivial detail, which has for you its importance. This constant vigilance allows you to find solutions when others sleep or decrease in their awareness or care. They will pick you for that, for your inability to stop to think. However, without the stop button, this background noise of mental involvement in a brimming imagination prevents you from finding the calm and casts a shadow of fear and suffering. The simple fact of imagining a situation can trigger the storm in the depths. You live it as it was for real. The absence of control of thoughts generates physical sensations, palpitations, chest pain, sweating, tremor, malaise, uncontrolled gestures, and uncontrolled gestures. Okay, and being emotionally broken. This impossibility to tame the negative thoughts made the bed of obsessions an infernal spiral. The anguish increases, the morbid doubts are pouring in and become more and more destructive with a tendency to inaction. The anguish blocks the action, harnessing precisely this anguish mad. This vicious circle can be cut straight in inserting this button off, which allows you to capture the attention, which inhibits the negative ideas. This may be a software visual support or derivative work such as physical activity or artistic activity or care for storing of little items. In you decoupling of the mind, in the simplicity, a short moment, your brain will be more and more effective without parasite. Emotional oscillations 9. Your hyperspeed to do everything is taken for content, because this is not possible that you read this document in 30 seconds and that you can read this book of 1,000 pages in a weekend. You're considered a usurper, supreme insult which press on your touch, your key volcano. In a fraction of a second, a sentence innocuously interpreted with your emotional prism immerses you in the deepest of a groundswell in the negative. In a time record, after a positive event, you're propelled in mirror in the summit of groundswell positive emotional, while the others are still the birth of their vague. You're considered exuberant, even hysterical. This ability to switch from positive to negative in a fraction of a second is perfectly incomprehensible outside of a disease. It is this normal amplitude for you between the positive and the negative, your emotional thermostat, which creates a bottomless pit of suffering responsible for playback offset in the hue of the horizon. You use inappropriate words. Your potential is frozen. You're, you have earned by your won by procrastination that makes you opportunities. You're in the denial that leads you to bad decisions, maintaining your evil be. Then, as if by magic, a sentence just as innocuous takes a positive value. At the top of your heart, you move mountains, you shout Eureka! You express your marrow, substantive, creative, innovative, empathic. You unroute and does not believe. Let's see what it says. You unroute others who don't believe you to be the author of such act, such operation. It is this passage from light to darkness and to the darkness to light that the other don't are not capable of incorporating. Worse, they reflect formatting your benevolent intentions in their pattern of thoughts, which completely transforms the data to your disadvantage, advancing your disarray. These are often those who are not ready for change, to change their paradigm that will cause the most harm. The ones who are refractory to change. These differing positive and negative can be explained by those multiple zones stimulated at the same time described in the brain. Imagine a sentence will stimulate inside of you several emotional areas, tenfold the phenomenon, explaining your emotional overflows. You can tame your brain in learning to extinguish areas step by step, one by one. It is a way to reduce the amplitude of your negative waves. And finally, the cocktail effect. The cocktail effect is the combination of the 9 points that I previously translated, should I say, interpreted. It's not translation because translation is on paper or in a document, and what I'm doing is acting as an interpreter. All these traits of character to potentiate and make your mode of operation is sought in many areas. Here is a story to illustrate this effect, the cocktail effect in real life. We asked two melody pianist amateur play in public to raise money for humanitarian work. With a huge joy she has accepted. Against all expectations, she has to climb to its preparatory work, many to speak emotional, many emotional peak until the D-Day and the DH hour. The intensity of her motivation, her resilience, and her multitasking ability have enabled her to climb the last meters of delicate passages. She is ready just in time, controlling all the songs. something unexpected happened in the representation. Her page turner was turning too much pages at the same time, so that too early, so that it messed everything up, because it was in a certain order and her page turner skipped too quick so many pages. So this completely destroyed everything that she planned. It has been very destabilization. It has been very destabilizing by these incidents, which have increased tenfold its strength. Her hours of previous work being sabotaged. It has shown in the quirks in front of the room film. And this vexation lived, and she expressed all of her musical talent in the last song. So in the last song she was able to express all of her musical talent, thus leaving a positive footprint. It had taken several days to turn off its 10 of negative zones emotionally lit during this evening, much more numerous than the emotional areas, much more numerous than the positive emotional areas. In other words, it took several days for her to turn off the tens of the many negative zones that were emotionally lit, much more numerous than the areas that were positively lit. A taste of humiliation, a smell of the achievement of the ego, has persisted for a long time despite her real final satisfaction. The world turns thanks to you. Then avoid being unkind to you by ignorance. Written by Valérie Foussier, who is the author of Adulte surdoué, cadeau ou fardeau, English interpretation, gift to the adults, gift or burden, by the edition aux éditions Joseph Dion. Thanks for listening. The 10 traits which poison the life of gifted adults. Written by Valérie Foussier, médecin endocrinologue. I am actually doing the interpretation in English of her article titled « 10 traits de caractère qui empoisonnent la vie des adultes surdoués ». The gifted adults or high potential have an operation mode that is quite different and ignored by other adults and even the HP for high potential themselves. This ignorance is at the origin of the evil be creating a chasm? Of course, there are well-intentioned people who appreciate your empathy and kindness for its fair value, two qualities that makes the basic of charism both coveted. Resilient. You have this ability to bear the unbearable, and you come back illico presto to keep a smile despite the storm, to find constructive solutions in the face of adversity of life. This force with the other, an offset, an unavoidable upset. It is also their mode of employment. No, it is also their way of operating, I would say. That is their strength, which is also both envied. Yes, you suffer from your capabilities that cause you so much pain. Here are the 10 features or 10 character traits that make you search first and then bullied. Empathic and friendly. You have an may also scare or bring you a lot of injustice. You're considered as a fabulator, a faker, imposter, a faker. This is the way you're considered, and this accentuates your natural tendency to overflow emotionally, which has the effect of to have the effect to put everybody against you. Then you're just really, when in fact you're just resilient. This is the effect of a bomb in the heart. Yet it shows indisputable gift, the empathy and the extreme kindness. You guess the need of others before your own, that you tend to ignore. You perceive that what others feel, and even much more sharply. You lose you lose yourself in adapting disproportionately to the other person. It is precisely for your altruism without limits that the manipulators pick you. The fragile face that they show at first glance, is touching you and you fall in the clouds. Stop to be nice, be true.